Good morning, everybody. It's 10:04 on the clock. And I have a special message for you first before the reads regarding feeling into a session with Damien Wynn and some important stuff that came up that I want to teach you as well. So let's first go ahead and take a deep breath. I am Ha. I am Aham. I am Mat. So it is. All right, guys. So very profound this morning. And then we'll get right into the read. I have my union and my twin flame read today. So I was watching a video from, not Damien's site, because I've actually done sessions with Damien before. But I was lately thinking about him to go back and like redo my own videos with him, or just find something online to redo with Damien again, just tapping back into his energies. And I was guided to the video from Dr. Jason Locken's website with him. It's about 3 weeks old with Damien. Damien's last name is Wynne, W-Y-N-N-E. And they were talking about archetypes and placing them into your position of mother and father behind your left and right shoulder, right? Because your mother's behind your left shoulder, your father's behind your right shoulder. And what came up for me was very significant, so I wanted to share it with you so maybe you could get some of the same energy. So, and he has come up, he's done shows with Lori Ladd as well, and others. But I think I first saw him from Lori's website. So they were talking about the archetypes and pulling in the left shoulder and the right shoulder energies of the mother and the father. Something else he brought up that was really important too, talking about the divine feminine, divine masculine. When we talk about masculine and feminine, there was so much blockage there that it was better to talk about the left versus the right, because there's not as much of an issue with that label, the left and right. There's not as much wounding with left and right as there would be with divine masculine and feminine. So I thought that was very interesting. So I was feeling into the left and right while I was watching him. And when I was still watching him, I was placing my mother and father behind my shoulders. And my parents' relationship, my mother was more austere and my father was more shy, which was the energy that was coming up right away when I put them behind my shoulders. But my father was also very protective of me, and I felt that, whereas my mother, I didn't trust her protection because she was also abusive. And it's not like my father was perfect either, we all have our moments. So what came up is as soon as my father came up, well, initially when my father came up, I just felt the strength, the protection of my father, the comfort between my father and I, because we did have a close relationship. But then I started crying on my father's side, feeling into the weakness over there. And so I was guided to go back to my union read for today that I'd done yesterday to look at the cards. And right away I was guided to the star card in the middle of the read, which has Egyptian energy there. And I was getting Cleopatra right away. So I'd put Cleopatra over my left shoulder in place of my mother's side, and I was getting the King of Wands shaman to put over the right shoulder for my father on the right side. So feeling into these energies to either get supportive energies from these archetypes or to correct imbalances within your body. And you can watch his videos to see what he teaches. He's amazing. But just to show you what I got from this, I went back to my union read. And like I said, the star became Cleopatra for my mother on the left. And the King of Wands shaman became the father archetype as my father on the right. So at the left shoulder, I got some spinal clearing right away, as in her empowerment, but without being abusive. And then on the right, I broke down with my dad, like I said first when I was still watching Damien. But then when I felt into my dad as the shaman energy, I cried a lot. So what came up over there was, now in my parents' relationship, my mother was very free, thinker, open-minded, not afraid to express herself, and my father was more shy and introverted. And he was a doctor, so of course he had to keep a lot to himself anyway because of confidentiality. But what came up was, as soon as I was getting my father as the shaman, which, you know, the shaman is very authentic to themselves, right? Very grounded and open, but my father wasn't that. He was just, he could be that at times. He could be very to himself and listen, although he could be judgmental at the same time. What came up for me was some guy I knew in college who was older than me at the time. He probably was at least 5 years older than me at the time, who I had met. And I just remember him being naked and so comfortable sitting cross-legged naked. And I remember him balding. You know, he's very young, but yet balding at the same time, and wore glasses. And so here he has all the typical things that guys would worry about themselves, yet was so at home with himself. And for me, it was so uncomfortable because I was so not at home with myself, especially not sitting naked, cross-legged, right? And again, this was when I was in college, so I was very young. But he was coming up as my father, because my father being in that position, which then brings up the naked warrior that came up in my egg experience of the wounded warrior in child's pose, skinned, completely exposed to the elements, because when you're skinned, right, you don't even have the protection of your skin. So I was getting both this guy I knew from college sitting there cross-legged, perfectly comfortable in his own skin, and then here bringing up the wounded warrior who's completely uncomfortable because he's completely exposed without skin. Then I was getting the fear of my father, weeping in fear and exposure, like very fearful. And so a lot of the Nazi camps was coming up about the nudity in the Nazi camps as being exposed as a prisoner. But then I was getting my grandfather, who was most connected to the Nazis, because he had 7 sisters who died because of the Nazis. He wasn't a blood relative, because we didn't find out till later that my grandfather wasn't my biological grandfather, that my grandmother had gotten pregnant by a Russian who had been exiled from Russia. Him and his brother pushed into France, in Paris, where my father was born. And of course, he was Russian Orthodox and she was a Jew. So of course, back then, especially with the war starting up, that was never going to fly. So obviously my grandmother got pregnant, and then my grandfather married her when she was pregnant, and very much loved her and took care of her for the rest of her life. But he wasn't my genetic grandfather. So I was saying, well, how does that work, since the Nazi was mostly him, and that's not biologically in my DNA? So what they showed me was it actually went back to me, because I've seen a past life of myself as a little boy getting shot in the back with the Nazis. Like I was running from a Nazi, and it's like he was carrying me somewhere, and I got away from him and I went running and he shot me in the back. And I actually have a birthmark in the middle of my back too, which birthmarks often reflect wounds from prior lives. So in that life also, I was thrown in the pits while I was still alive, and the birds were like the focus of my life. They were my friends, keeping me in some kind of peace while I was still alive and wounded and pain, obviously, and dying in the pit with the dead bodies. So the issues were coming up with me, not my father so much right there. But again, your lineage goes back to your father because that was a past life. So that would have bled into my father that way. And I also went back to the starvation camps of the Polish because that was my grandmother. She raised her little brother when she was 10 years old working the sewing factories, and God knows what abuse occurred there, right? But also then the Russian issues with my biological grandfather, who I didn't know, who was then exiled in punishment. So the Nazi part was actually from my life as a little boy who got shot in the back, left in the pit still alive with the birds as my friends, and there comes up that connection with the birds for me as well again. My father, I know a wounding from him from doing some prior work was that if I love you, you will die. So my father was emotionally detached in my childhood because if he loves me, then I will die. So the wounding of we know we love each other because we have starved together, we've been exiled together, we've been bonded through shame and nakedness of our own bodies as the prisoners of war together, okay? So here comes up the divine masculine with body shame of being naked, ashamed of his body because of nakedness in the war and being afraid of being abused or being killed or being tortured in the elements of cold and wind and snow and all that kind of stuff, or heat as well, and being literally burned in the sun. And the divine feminine on my mother's side was coming up as sexuality shame for being openly sexual and proud of the naked body because my mother was very free with her body. And then what came up on my mother's side was my great-grandfather, David Lubin, who I've told you about because he's famous for his connection to the United Nations. His wife in Sacramento had an affair with the Sacramento mayor, so he was humiliated by her freeness of her body by having an affair with the mayor of Sacramento. So he was, he was like a militant do-gooder, and so this was so humiliating for him. So he was shamed by his wife's nakedness there. So you see how all these wounds were coming up, and they were definitely releasing from my body, and I cried that out. And then also, Damien always talks about the invisible twin, which is the twin that you may have lost in the womb. So you may have been a twin in your womb, and you can watch his videos about that. I can't go into that much because of obviously he knows a lot about that and I don't know so much. But so sacrificing, so what comes up with having an invisible twin in the womb, which he did work with me in our session, sacrificing self in order to give your life and blood to your twin because they're dying in the womb. So then in your life, you're always putting yourself as number two, wanting to save others because they're always more important than you. So then what came up, the word Damien came up because he was talking about Jaws in the video I was watching today and how that becomes a collective wound, right? Because we then all became afraid of Jaws because it was so popular to be talking about the movie and how scary it was. So then it becomes a collective conscious wound. So then I was getting for some reason to Damien, and because as soon as I hear Damien, I think of The Omen, and which then connects me to The Exorcist because they both came out around the same time. So there's a big wound around that word Damien of the devil and The Omen and The Exorcist. And then what came up when I put, because I couldn't remember the name of The Omen, so I put Damien online to see what came up. And then behindthename.com came up with on April 25th, 21, Saint Damien was martyred with his twin brother, Cosmas, in Syria in the early 4th century, the patron saints of physicians. And then here I am, like everyone in my ancestry, my immediate families were doctors. My father was a doctor and my mom's parents were both doctors, my grandfather and my grandmother. So this is very related to my history as well because of the physicians. And then another header came up of Damian Wayne, not Wynn, but Damian Wayne from Prime Earth, DC database from Fandom. And it said that after Batman, and I always talk about the Divine Masculine as Batman, after Batman became a public hero, he fought Ra's al Ghul and League of Assassins. He met Ra's daughter, Talia al Ghul, and conceived a child with him, and Bruce was unaware of this. Eventually, she let Damien meet Batman, who was surprised by his secret son being a supervillain, and sought to learn more about him, who was a cold-hearted assassin, and he had trouble relating to his son. But Damien started showing some restraint, and Batman was very proud of this, but then Alfred was getting on his case that he wasn't actually still being supportive enough of him. So it was very interesting how that came up as well, and how they all interconnect with everything that we talk about with our twins. So you might want to feel into some archetypes, fitting them into the role of your mother and father, and how that may clear, whether it's emotional wound and you cry or release that way, or a physical wound where you literally feel some place in your body release. So let me know if you try that out, how it might work out for you. And also check out Damien's stuff because he's amazing. And now I'm going to get into the read for the day. Today is the 20th of June, 2021. And by the way, Sam the Illusionist had talked about this being the day annually that the dark have their meeting annually. So we might want to do group meditations today in raising our vibrations exponentially to neutralize whatever they're, conjuring up today. And again, today being very appropriate because of that meeting that Damien and the association with the devil was coming up, even though that's not true about Damien, obviously. So today we have the 20 of Judgment, and the day adds up to 31, which is a 4, but it's also the 5 of Wands, which is that conflict energy of competition and battles and games, and also the pursuit of happiness and acting as well with the 5 of Wands, and the judgment of that being judged. Or decisions, announcements, wake-up calls, all of that energy, or being called out. So a lot of wounding I just brought up for you guys. So let me know what helped you clear something so that we can pass that on to others. But meanwhile, I'm going to get right into the reads for you. And we're going to roll the dice as well. Here is the union read for today, which is why I started clearing. You see the star here, which brought up Cleopatra for me, and then the King of Wands shaman, who brought up my father's issues about nudity and shyness, that kind of stuff. He also got lost in the woods when he was very young, following his dog, and he got in a lot of trouble before being lost. So there's another wound of being punished for having already been punished, having been lost and scared. He was 5 years old at the time. So here is the, and not feeling nurtured, right? A 5-year-old lost with the dog in the woods should have a mother or father who just welcomes them into their open arms to make them safe once again, knowing that they had been lost. So the 4D here, 5D here, 6D here, the Divine Feminine on this side, the Divine Masculine on this side, and the bridge between them in the middle, the incoming Divine Feminine, the outgoing Divine Masculine, the underlying energies, and the closing energies here of the Alchemy or Temperance card here. And this is the Syrian Starseed deck. Here's the basic read for the Twin Flames read that you see in front of you. And then the read in front of you with, oh, there we go. With all 7 deck clarifier here is these cards here. And again, it is a general reading, so if some messages don't resonate with you, don't force them to fit. At this point in your journey, you should be able to discern what's meant for you and what's not meant for you by feeling into it, not thinking it. And so we're going to get started here with the die. Let's see what's coming up for the dice for the Twin Flames today. Take another deep breath, guys. All right, so we have Virgo, which happens to be my sign. So we have Virgo. And it's funny because I always like the M from the Scorpio better than the Virgo M. We have the number 2, which is the High Priestess. It's also the Divine Feminine, the Mediator, the one-to-one energies. And then we have Mercury here, which is again coming up a lot this week because of the retrograde of Mercury. And that's associated with Virgo and Gemini. And so again, one-on-one energies. I had my daughter's friend stayed the night last night with me. We hung out and had a girls' night. She's experienced a lot of wounding in her short life. And it had to do with mother stuff. And again, something Damien brings up too is that you can't replace like archetypes like mothers and things like that. So if you're giving love to a friend as a mother, you want to make sure you keep it as a loving friend, not as a replacement for the mother figure, because you can't do that. It kind of messes up the arrangement as far as the lineage and the trickling down of the DNA. So, and also if you've lost children to make sure you count them in the lineage, because they're all, even though they didn't stay, they were still part of your lineage and your family. So make sure to include them in your loving intentions. And then the union read. Okay, so 4D, 5D, 6D union read was done at 1:53 yesterday afternoon. 1 is the Magician, 53 is the Knight of Swords, the Messenger of Truth, also the Knight in Shining Armor. And we start here with the 4 of Pentacles and the underlying energy, which for me in the Syrian Starseed deck is the Divine Masculine's heart in the Batcave. So very appropriately, Batman came up today. And the star is in the middle. And the final card was Alchemy, which has to do with the Temperance card and the higher love, blending and balancing and being patient. The Divine Masculine's heart in the Batcave, being called to explore the stars. The rock star healer, the turtle walking like an Egyptian, moving forward but looking behind at the same time, which then slows them down. Alchemizing, turning the page about the pond turtle or tortoise and being patient. The slowpoke, only part of the story, which actually connects to the person I knew in college because he was a very patient man. And for me, that was very uncomfortable because both of my parents had a big impatient streak. And I thought, when I was young, it was a weakness to me because, in my family, that was being weak, not strong, right? Which, of course, is wrong. So the slow, patient turtle or tortoise, the slowpoke, is only part of the story of in and out of shell or cave, discovering the outer realms and the alchemical process. Adele was coming up here. And Adele was coming up, the name, but also the rounding. I'm trying to remember the song because me and my daughter and my son always sing the rounds together, where they, at the end of the song, nobody's perfect. And I can't remember the words right now, but there's 2 or 3 rounds. But anyway, she's coming up regarding the blending of universes or a round of song in layers building, one step at a time, holding on to security, while to infinity and beyond, a cocktail of magic in the hero's game, and patience and balance and calm. Give me 1 second. I have to find my... Okay, so the incoming Divine Feminine here was Reason, which is the Emperor, Page of Pentacles, and the 8 of Cups. The Page of Pentacles picking up where the Emperor left off. The Reason dumping AI, and the Page of Pentacles picking it up. New curiosities or tossing false hand or metal work, and firing to learn about crystal work, and hiring. So again, this was saying tossing false hand or metal work and firing to learn about crystal work, and hiring. So hiring someone for a job, but also instead of firing, making it hiring. The walking away and within, leaving behind emotions all aligned, all in a row. Batman on the beach, now in neutral territory, heading towards the sea. The Divine Masculine on the Divine Feminine side, in her energy, getting others up to speed to walk away to the sea. And that's interesting, the Divine Masculine on the Divine Feminine side, and my father came up to discuss here on my side, right? Because I have the energy of that body shyness from my father. I'm not like my mother, who totally is comfortable with exposing herself. Or the Divine Masculine present in clearing with Santa Claus, Saint Nick, or Saint Chris, or Saint Damien, apparently from this morning, discovering new abilities, merged with Divine Feminine, and then going their own way at 2:14, which is Valentine's Day. Okay, and that also can be when you do healing with yourself, your masculine, you can call them in to do the healing with you, and then they walk away when the healing's done. And it's 10:29 on the clock, which is my son's birthday. 10 is the Wheel of Fortune, 29 is the 3 of Wands, being present in the moment. And then we have 2:15, which is 14 to 15 is the angel and the devil. And also 6:14 keeps coming up for me the past week a lot. And 6:14 is the very first time I reached out to my twin. So 14 and 15 is the angel and the devil. On each shoulder, the mother and the father, the 2 of the high priestess, the 15 of the devil, and then the 4D here. Yeah, it was so weird because Laura, I can't find Laura Eisenhower's channel on YouTube, so I think she got taken down right now. But I did put her name in, and an old video from somebody else's website came up, dated 6/14/2015, which is the day I reached out to my twin the very first time. So that was really weird and cool. So in the 4D here was Ascension, the King of Wands, and the 10 of Swords. The Divine Feminine with the world in her right hand, in full command. Focus on the belly button and just below the center of gravity and the portal of confidence, umbilical cords connected with pearls on them. So it's like connecting the center of gravity and just below your belly button, and the belly button as the connection to the womb, which is the pearl, and then the green blue sparkly Om. The green blue sparkly Om, but I don't think I wrote Om there, but that's what's coming up now. The Middle East empowerment, and again, the Middle East is coming up also as like the middle of your body, but just to the east, or just to the Divine Feminine as the east. A state of empower, or Imana, which is the Pleiadian name for God in the feminine sense. The empower, the middle and to the left, the east or the Divine Feminine, the Gibraltar Strait by the way of Atlas and Hercules, and then the UK's altar, because the Rock of Gibraltar is actually UK's land, but it's right next to Spain. So going direct or using the middleman or woman back to where they started from, back in the UK or back in the USSR. As I was just telling you that my biological grandfather is actually from Russia. So the Divine Masculine ending pain or in a painful end, betrayal or massage and bliss. Working with spine energy and aligning orbs. The Divine Masculine likes to have his ducks in a row. Duck, duck, goose, always ready for the unexpected. Bridging with the King of Wands shaman, that 70s guy again, connected to the earth and fired up with the sun and stone at each shoulder at his back, heated rock, star in etheric realms, mastering desires and inspirations. In the 5D here is Luna, Star, and Justice. Luna being the moon, the star, and then Justice are obvious. The Divine Feminine subconscious and romantic when cycle is calm, waning, and flooding emotions of plasma ether and walking right through to the other side. The Divine Masculine with Divine Justice, feeling his way through, truth and balance, the scales of fish and the Middle East, as above so below. She with the light of the world in the palm of her hand, and he the Shah man, pure and blind, letting his headband fall down over his eyes, then becoming the blindfold over her eye, not wanting her to know where she is going, a secret doorway or a secret garden. Bridged by the star, guiding lunar direction to opening in a dimension. The rock star showing moody blues the path to the wormhole so they don't fall down the rabbit hole. After a wave of emotion may have taken over her, overcome by subconscious feelings, when the moon meets star and divine justice rings, being weighed to make sure it is a fair exchange. And then in the 60 is the King of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Twin Flames. So it's like a couple there. But is that really the case? The Divine Feminine with Akashics and Crystal Skull, no talking head, unable to talk. The Divine Masculine with Twin on the same page about choosing a path. Two sides of the coin ends up at the same place. In space above the earth, pigs in space. Bridging with the Queen of Pentacles, cat got her tongue, warm and cozy in the Batcave, as the King of Pentacles and Queen of Pentacles and the Twin Flame alchemy, or will the real twin please stand up? Right? Is it the karmic versus the divine feminine twin, or is it the disappearing twin within the womb, right? Which twin are you dealing with? The one that was in your womb with you who died, or the twin, your twin, which then if you have a twin in your womb that died, they're going to block you from your twin that you're coming into union with because they've always been number one, okay? So the divine feminine here with the earth and the moon, but the sun eludes her, mastering crystals. The divine masculine in bliss of justice with twin, and the bridge between them is the King of Wands shaman with the sun in the etheric realm with the Queen of Pentacles there. And her manifestations are coming up as disappearing, like the disappearing twin. But it's also getting, you know, some masculines think that their karmic partner is their twin because she keeps telling him that when it's not. It's actually his twin is his twin, right? So we have the 242 of the 2 of the High Priestess and the 42 of the 2 of Cups, the outgoing divine masculine of the 10 of Pentacles, the 2 of Swords, and the 10 of Cups. The family, business, or community with peach and royal purple, red and black hair, one all about the stuff and one feeling their way through, floating in their knowing with the 10 of Cups stacked in her favor. Keeping his energy clear amidst the 10 of Pentacles and 10 of Cups families, again, the Capulets and the Montagues, and or business, community, legacy, family, or the world, the alchemy and transmuting lead to gold, dark to light, dull to bright. This is where the turtle's story gets to be told. Perhaps it gets tight as well. So the divine feminine had Aries, Pisces, and Cancer on her side with the Page of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles, which can be a father and child. But it also can be the mastery of the crystals of the feminine with a child, or her own need to manifest an opportunity, depending on their manifestation abilities, because the Page of Pentacles is the beginning of manifestation and learning that suit, and then the King of Pentacles is the mastery of that. So we have the student and teacher here as well. So the divine masculine had Libra and Sagittarius on his side with the 2 families, the Capulets and the Montagues, ending with 3 sets of 10s. So there's definitely endings there. And between the masculine and feminine is Aquarius and the King of Wands and the Queen of Pentacles here. So the divine masculine's heart with the Master of Akashics and the Queen of Pentacles in the way to the twin flame alchemy and that higher love. So again, the King and Queen of Pentacles can represent the Queen of Pentacles as the karmic and the King of Pentacles as the divine feminine, mastering her manifestation abilities, or just mastering, or actually manifesting that in the 6D as being the master of their manifestations. So the number that the grid came out to for this read was 46, which is the children in the garden, or in this deck, the children hugging each other, loving each other. The horizontal pillars came up as 6, 0, and 40, which is the lover's source or space, and then the Page of Cups of the 40, which is that innocent love and purity. The vertical pillars came up as 4, 8, 12, 10, 2, and 10. The Emperor, strength or the dance, the 12 of the Hanged Man, the 10 of the Wheel, the 2 of the High Priestess, and then the 10 of the Wheel again. So the message coming up is the lover's source, message of love, or with space to give love to the 6 of Cups, children or twin. And again, that can be referencing the disappearing twin as well. The Emperor's dance, to hang out on two-wheeler with the High Priestess in a loving bond, or with kids, or with kids. So dreams coming true at the center of the bridge where Egypt or Atlantis merge Cancer and Libra. The divine feminine Page of Pentacles amidst the Emperor wanting control, and others or him walking away, she curious about herself and unaffected by plays to distract her. The divine masculine amidst the 10 of Pentacles and 10 of Cups families in control and emotions, the 2 different families of control and emotions, and keeping to themselves to keep their energy clear and not allowing the family energy to pull them down, allowing his energy to pull them up. So yeah, what I forgot too, the guy that I brought up from college, who was completely comfortable sitting naked, his last relationship like had been this like the same as my birthday, or was an Evelyn, like two Evelyns, or my birthday, or both. It was really weird, something like that. So there's definitely a pattern thing that was coming up with that needed to be brought up and released, which was kind of cool, because I would never associate my father with that incident, nor do I think of that. I don't remember it at all. So that was pretty cool that came up. So then we have the twin flame read. And remember, we rolled the die, and we have Virgo, which is all about Dharma and practicalities of day-to-day life, because Virgo is all about, after Leo, right? Leo's shining their light, but avoiding the practicalities of life. And then Virgo comes in to clean up the act, so to speak, and perfect the details. So that's the energy that's coming up, but also with the retrograde, the Mercury retrograde, it makes, I would trip up with my speech constantly when Mercury's retrograde, because I'm very affected by that. But we're kind of taken aback regarding miscommunications, and that can come up in traffic and computer issues as well, and glitches there. So always make sure to triple check your work when there's a retrograde. But for the twin flame read, we have the Syrian starseed deck again. I cut and dealt the Syrian starseed deck at 3 o'clock on the nose. 3 is the Empress, and with double zeros, there's a lot of source energy backing it up, the abundance and the Gaia or Earth. Definitely been dealing with a lot of feminine energy over the past couple days. Some unexpected connections, which was nice. And just getting some 3D stuff done as well. Oh, before I forget too, the person I spoke to, it was great because someone from my old world spoke to me, and it was good to know, because there are people rebelling against people being forced to take the what. So where we've known this would happen, eventually would unfold. What will happen is the ones at places where they're forced to get the jab will, if they get fired, start bringing lawsuits against those institutions for wrongful doing, for firing them, for refusing to take something that hasn't even had proper research done to it yet. So it's very interesting, because, I worked in a hospital for 25 years in research, and you can't get anything to market in less than, like 5-10 years. And here's something that's out within a year, and everyone's being forced to take it, or they get fired. So there definitely will be repercussions to this. And once the lawsuits come out, even though it's not to necessarily make anybody a lot of money, because with those big lawsuits, you don't usually make anything. You might make, 50 cents or something. But the point of them is then it becomes very public that the people are not standing for this. They're not going to stand for someone taking their sovereignty away from them and telling them what they can and can't put into their bodies. So that was very interesting. So we have the, at 325, which is the Empress, and the 25 of the Knight of Wands, of crystals came up, which has to do with being Christ-like, and also crystals, which has to do with purging. But also the crystal skull came up regarding heads, and then TALS came up, which is tails. So heads or tails coming up, or can't make heads or tails of this. At 344, I completed the clarifications, which is the Empress, and the 44 of grounding and integrating and mastering of love, the 4 of Cups, which also can be referenced as boredom. And then we had the major arcana of ascension, the Tower, Luna, the Moon. Before the read, Indigo, which is the Magician, Transition, which is the Death card, and the Hanging Man came up. After the read, the Sun and the Great Wheel, or the Wheel of Fortune, came up. We have 2 swords, 3 cups, 1 wand, and 2 pentacles, so pretty well balanced, but mostly cups or heart-based emotions coming up. And then we had the Queen of Swords, Knight of Cups, Queen of Wands, Knight of Pentacles, all in the read, plus the Knight of Wands before the read and the King of Wands after the read. All right, so we had a king, we have 3 queens here, 2 knights, 3 queens and 3 knights. Okay, 3 knights, and we're on the 20th, so the 20th, 21st, and the 22nd, going into the 23rd is the 3rd night. So there's a significance there from the 22nd to the 23rd, 3 nights from now. We also have 3 queens and 3 knights matching up the masculine and the feminines. along with the King of Wands, the Master of Ceremony, perhaps. We have the 77 in the numbers as the only double digit in the read. 77 is your sovereignty, which I was just talking about. So that's a significant energy today. The 77 of the sovereign. We also, the number 4, literally the numbers came up as 747. So there may be an airplane that's in the news today, or just the 747 of a very wide plane, right? Isn't the 747 with the 3 seats in the middle and 5 on either side, or 2 on either side and 3 in the middle? It's a wide plane as opposed to the 727. So the 747 in flight, or there may be news about a 747 that may come up or has come up recently. And then we have the 4 and the 77, which were the only main numbers that came up in the main cards. And then with all of the cards in the 21 card read, we also had 24 of the Queen of Wands, 45 of the 5 of Cups, 57 of the 3 of Swords, and then 710, which is 0 behind 71, which is the 3 of Pentacles. And for me, that is the co-creation card. So the code line here is all about music today. And the numbers in the read, or in the code line rather, were just the number 7 and the number 1, which is then again 71, but also 7 plus 1 is 8, which is the strength card. The dance between the masculine and feminine, the manifestation of our dreams, as opposed to the 4, which is manifestation of survival. So all about music today. And again, Adele came up. Source ha, like an aha moment. But also when I do my chanting in the beginning, I do the Om Ha, which is the third eye and the crown, and Adele coming up, as well as Aid or Addie times 2. And I don't know if Adele is called Addie sometimes, but the nickname Addie is coming up. And also AIDS times 2. So 2 Addies or 2 Aids, 2 Adeles. The Queen, the wise one, to clear as synchronicities or heaven in their eyes to the nth degree, full of acing music or the oneness of music, and speak. The goat skin also is coming up here as protection, right? And the silence of the lambs comes up there. So the word Tia came up, T-I-H-A, which literally means quiet or silent. And what came up here was at 444 actually came up THF, which is tetrahydrofuran, which is a heterocycle ether with 5 numbered ring with 4 carbons and 1 oxygen atom, or it's used as a polar solvent. So literally in what we're looking at, a solution to the polarities, the 5-membered ring, which also could be like a knuckle ring. What I was just getting now, right? A 5-membered ring is like a ring on all 5 knuckles. But also what was coming up here is the silent, the dead amidst the ashes, the sage as illusion, the time out to the left for the brioche or French pastry, the madman full of acing music, or the oneness of music. So the source of ha, to die without Ian, and I-A-N literally also translates into I am. So source ha, to die without Ian or one, it also means, but it also means I am. And the queen, a dream, to toggle up and left, to the left, the madman again, full of the oneness of music. The twin addies or twin aids. And remember, aid can be a drink as well, but it's coming up as 2, like 2 mints in 1. 2 addies or 2 aids, or Adele's, or old adages I'm getting now, of silence and quiet. 2 younger maternal aunts, or a double chin perhaps, or 2 farewells. 2 fathers or 2 islands to selves. Again, the 2 fathers comes up as remembering not to put the false father into the father's place. 2 islands to selves, right? Being an island to yourself and being 2 of them. The wise ones or queen, heaven in their eyes. Synchronicity, source of fluff, French light stuff, and music as well. Also, the head comes up of Addy or aid. And remember that heads or tails came up in the beginning. And also the word Gia, G-E-A, is regarding both sexes. So the energy of saying yes and being mixed of both sexes, Gia, making heads or tails out of this and aiding each other or requiring aid. The head being attached, about to be bitten, consumed, or eaten, exhausted. And remember that the praying mantis bites the partner's head off with a right-angled tool to shape wood, right? To keep the wood in line. The now moment to arrange the energy of both sexes as options, synchronicities, and heaven in their eyes. The dream state to source to the left if the fool aces music just the right way. Or the fool becomes one with the music in just the right way. The quiet aid or addy aids the queen or sage with options of personal shopper perhaps, and tifo, which is, a cheerleader, cheering them on, with lace and music, or heterocyclic ether with 5-membered ring as a polar solvent. Oleaceae, woody plants, including the olive, ash, forsythia, jasmine, and privet. I'm not sure how that tree is pronounced. Where they are all one with the music. And again, this is coming up with nature, right? The music of the spheres, but also the music of the plants. And then the source of the deadhead. This was funny too. This is like God talking about being a deadhead. Source being a deadhead with I am, without I am, that I am, is to exaggerate, which is not rare for him, as heaven in their eyes, allusions to me, with source being a silly madman and at one with music, like Snoopy, or acing the music like Snoopy and Charlie Brown, with Schroeder to create romance for Pilot and Blockhead, or Ace and Deadhead, as Lucy in the sky with diamonds and refuses to wear dreads. So it was pretty funny. So God will always sometimes put a little humor in there for us to break up the woundedness. So we start this read here with the Queen of Swords reversed here. Many cards on top. I go 5 cards down and then 5 cards out at the end, making it a 21 card read. So below the Queen of Swords reversed was Indigo reversed, Transition upright, the 10 of Wands reversed, the Hanging Man upright. It's 47-47 just now, and the 747 came up earlier, so that's important. So 47 is the 7 of Cups, the synchronicities, the heaven in your eyes, the options and choices, and the illusions and confusion that can be when you have too many choices. So we also had the Knight of Wands upright here after the Hanging Man, and then the Queen of Swords reversed. So the Magician's reversed, insecure without tools, perhaps manipulative, and transitioning, death, ending, dark night, dumping a load, a burden, or responsibilities to hang out and see new perspectives with the Knight of Wands upright and the Queen of Swords reversed at 954, which is then the 9 of the Hermit and the 54 of the Page of Swords, the message of the Hermit. The Queen of Swords reversed, along with that Knight of Wands upright, but the Knight of Wands upright is going back to the past. The Queen of Swords is usually facing forward or right at you, with the Hermit's light and choosing a path, with the Knight of Wands backing them up, and the Knight of Swords reversed holding their tongue, or must be silent if they're going to ride with the journeyman to bring good news to the Queen of Cups reversed, suddenly heartbroken or shocked about a separation. The Hermit shedding light on suffering and silence, or seeing a professional to heal the pain, or figure out what's wrong, to bring good news from the wounded warrior in surrender. The Page of Wands inspired by patient angel or higher love, offering a new life or payment for home or time, money, and effort in a union with the Queen of Swords reversed. In a portal of love, Bermuda perhaps, just down the street from the water, off the beaten path, and what lies beneath, the pond stones, and one step at a time, as the clouds roll by, blending back and forth to make the perfect offer. starting over with a higher love, suffering in silence, or perhaps dealing with a sister in need of help. Under the blanket with angel nearby, the Page of Pentacles reversed is in need of an opportunity or invite, or just never learns how to dip their toe and take the first step alone. Deception comes up here as the underlying energy, but on top of that was making the effort. So it was make the effort on top with deception below, that's someone in situations wearing a mask, but to make the effort. Released from vampiring, the Four of Swords reversed, no longer silenced, under the red veil and splitting of the bulls, finding peace in a risky scenario, two together and distant, or apart and close. All is lost down by the riverside. The truth aside, going on a treasure hunt. X marks the spot. Giving back a tickle to get screwed. One in the tent, another outside by the creek, and a third naked and up Schitt's Creek. 3 women and something like love, released and talking, keeping red out of view, finding peace in separation. The naked truth, truth aside, or offsides, off the bed. Abundance comes up here with 88, which is the twins dancing side by side between their own masculine and feminine, and beneath that surrender, and the 91, which is the reflection of the sun, the central sun. The reunion here of socializing out in the cold, the Queen of Wands walking the dog, or being strong implementing a plan at night to get over the loss and regret. Eyes red, dogs howling, basket empty, and dark birds gone, finally. Gemini reversed, Scorpio, Capricorn, Virgo, Sagittarius, Cancer, and Leo all upright here in the underlying energy. Loss, regret, and the Queen of Swords reversed, at home in need of help, or with the Page of Pentacles reversed, distant and yet abundant at the same time. Focusing on the heart, resting and feeling unsafe, home or in union, breaking patterns, dropping the act with issues at work, or perhaps a third party through work. And this was at 10:40 p.m., which is 10 of the Wheel of Fortune, 40 of the Page of Cups, the innocence of love and message. And then going forward after this read was the energy of the King of Wands reversed and the Queen of Swords reversed, separated in a downturn with the Six of Cups upright, the loving children, whether they're the inner children or outer children, feeling rejected and hanging out in the dark night, or hung and dead. So someone also could feel hung out to dry. So we have the 10:46 of the Wheel of Fortune and the 46 of the Six of Cups. No peace or rest and sudden explosion, starting over. In the recent past is the Queen of Cups reversed, frustrated, not aroused, knowing and keeping to themselves. Third party, dark night surrender, vulnerable and uncomfortable and unable to walk away. An energetic exchange with the juggler, performer with issues at work, on guard to the Chariot, who is also at war. Scorpio and Cancer both upright here. The dark night versus the charioteer, ascended warriors, or planes, trains, and automobiles attacked. So 747 came up also. The foundation here is the Knight of Cups reversed, rejected, jealous, moody, and insincere, inspired by the sovereign, up at the crack of dawn to offer partnership to the Queen of Pentacles, or a peace offering, or a deception rising above to make an offer to partners and the Queen of Pentacles. The central energy here is ascension reversed, the world upside down, with the Queen of Swords reversed and the Knight of Cups reversed, with the Queen of Cups reversed in the past, but the Queen of Swords could be in the past too because the underlying energy. But the Knight of Cups reversed is in the foundation here. As we go into the center of the world upside down, or the Divine Feminine in the 5D, and two queens and a knight all reversed here, the Divine Feminine in the 5D, uncomfortable in a bold move, because there is bold movement forward here, to the 10 of Pentacles, reversed, family, business, or community of dysfunction or loss, in release from prison, the Knight of Cups reversed, and the Queen of Cups reversed with Page of Cups reversed and Knight of Cups reversed, which can be a mother and 2 children, or it can be a couple and 1 child, however it is for you. But or it could be 3 children, it could be three siblings. But we had Scorpio and Cancer upright here and Pisces reversed, all water signs. and a lot of water sign energy with the Queen, Knight, and Page of Cups. The Emperor's reversed, released, and not in the woods, or not in the mood for love after lost their family or lost a family member, or family, business, or community bailed them out of jail, but the one who got bailed out is a rogue emperor reversed. And that could be too, like the movie I watched last night wasn't my pick, but it was my guest pick of a movie to watch. But it was about, you know, a soldier going rogue after his pregnant wife was killed. So it's that kind of energy of getting out of jail and then going rogue as the Emperor reversed. The challenge being the Seven of Cups upright, the synchronicities, the steps to take, to ascend, frustration and defenselessness with no weapon and no excuse, no remorse at 1106, which is truth and balance of justice, and the Six of the Lovers. Divorce, break in religion, establishment, marriage, or thinking outside the box, being arrogant or depressed and needing to heal, looking back at the King of Cups reversed, emotionally detached, and running from Taurus, Aquarius, or spiritually depressed person. Operative, the go-between, the lesser of two evils, the Hierophant reversed and the King of Cups reversed, dissatisfied and arrogant in a split, divide, or big lie, or BS, needing the whole truth. Lovers reversed, man with two lovers dumping at least one, the worst over of betrayal and suffering with the Queen of Wands reversed and the Queen of Swords reversed, and the King of Wands reversed, lacking affection, right? So we have the King and Queen of Wands reversed with the Queen of Swords reversed between them, and the King of Wands reversed, lacking affection, with the Page of Cups reversed, vulnerable, rejected, or spoiled, and the Hierophant reversed, in a divorce, break from religion, establishment, or a tainted religious leader who abuses children, purging, overwhelmed, a baby left crying, which was so weird because then I heard a baby in the movie crying in the background in this military situation, drained, burned, overexposed, to the devil reversed, or detox after out of control. High priestess, secret, or psychic abilities of ending the worst and creating the bliss. Now present in the crowning position is the Queen of Wands reversed. Now we have three queens, they're all reversed here. And the only queen that's not represented there is the Queen. We have the Queen of Wands, Queen of Swords, and Queen of Cups. So Queen of Pentacles isn't there. But she came up in the union read next to the King of Pentacles. So the Queen of Wands reversed, the worst is over in the war, with the King of Swords upright, holding on, cards close to his chest, with the Queen of Cups reversed and the Knight of Pentacles reversed, down and getting over it. So the Magician reverse comes up here, insecure and overwhelmed, pushed to their emotional limit, which then can make them manipulative perhaps, with no big love at work or third-party love through work, stressed, suffering in silence, or dealing with a sister. The Queen of Wands reversed, finding peace away from the Emperor reversed, who's moving on to help save others. Lacking faith, falling on their face or from grace. The Knight of Cups reversed, on a quest to get over loss, regret, and shame of the Queen of Swords reversed, in energetic exchange with unhappy family, or breakup, or without affection, in detox or major addiction, or dumping their ball and chain, announcing discomfort with flirtation, and the inability to be able to walk away at 1124, which is Justice and the Queen of Wands. So the Queen of Wands drained in a fight to detox with secret bliss at 1124, again Justice and the Queen of Wands. Soon the Tower is upright in a sudden event, explosion, eruption, epiphany, blowing their crown, their cover, their mind, right? Just blowing up in general. Hung out to dry, settling out, spreading the word, in a wake-up call or clarion call, needing the strength and faith, defenseless to attack, with friend to catch them when they fall. The Queen of Pentacles is upright, being loving, but also it's like being free with their love, but Scroogey with the Queen of Cups reversed as far as time, money, and effort. Capricorn and Pisces come up here. And it also could be It also could be the Queen of Pentacles being loving to the Scroogey Queen of Cups, who won't let them give them time, money, and effort, or just even money as a gift. Capricorn and Pisces there, with Aquarius upright, Leo and Aries reversed, and Scorpio upright too here. The twin flames seeing themselves as the Seven of Pentacles reversed, which in this deck for me is the Divine Feminine's heart in the E Tower. But implementing a plan, or the Divine Feminine coming out, implementing a new plan with the King of Wands reversed and the High Priestess or secret, the aide or nurse or religious woman performing and working on details, getting to know each other, healing family issues and trust, but also flirt and you deserve love. You are lovable. Around the twins, or how they're seen, is Luna or the moon reversed, deception and union with the King of Pentacles reversed, confession, drained, burned, overexposed to upside down world, and the lack mentality of the Empress reversed. Cancer and Leo reversed, Pisces and Taurus also reversed here, and the block for the twins being the Four of Swords reversed, not sleeping and rising above, or awakening and coming out about the injustice of the Queen of Wands reversed, and the past life connection with the Queen of Pentacles upright, the music and the bliss, and physical activity and personal growth even more significant here. The lovers out in the cold together, recovering, twisted pillar to twisted pillar with an olive branch, and dissatisfied alone, not getting their wish, the Knight of Pentacles upright, proposal or offering multiple options to third party through work. The Knight of Pentacles surrender to detoxing lover and breakup and unhappy family, an emotional cycle over and recovering from a twist of fate, surrender to stretching and growing from frog to prince, drained without the sunshine, and overexposed or not well. In downturn with the King of Wands reversed, who may be the exhausted shaman or abusive man. The Knight of Wands reversed and the Queen of Swords reversed, and the Knight of Cups reversed, implementing a plan of deception or to get up before dawn. The Queen of Cups reversed, needing closure and challenged by the stairway to heaven, and sudden epiphany about awakening to the Queen of Wands reversed, and the Knight of Pentacles upright, and the surrender to growth spurt in need of sunshine or to guard of Leo and Libra both reversed, along with the King of Wands reversed, or their ego being out of control. The Queen of Swords and Queen of Cups both reversed over it here, with the Knight of Cups reversed, wanting closure with the Queen of Wands reversed, and challenged by the 7 steps they need to take, ascending of synchronicities and the Divine Feminine coming out suddenly, before dawn perhaps, or about a deception of awakening and rising above. The Knight of Pentacles offered to give it all up, under arrest or a rest, exhausted in a twist of fate, with the King of Wands reversed at 11:58, which is 11 of justice, truth and balance, and the 58 of the rest and the connection in the 5D between the masculine and the feminine. So let's go ahead and pull up the oracle cards. We'll start with the Animal Spirit deck to see what comes up for you guys. And again, we have the energies of judgment and conflict and expansion, or games, acting, and the pursuit of happiness. But also the die of the retrograde and the Virgo and the Mercury energy, and the 2 of the mediator, the 2 of twins, the 2 of the go-between, or seeing eye to eye, relating one-to-one. Okay, and right away, the black egg just dropped out there. Wow, look at that. The black egg and the gold egg, which is the heart and the throat chakra connecting together. This is huge and powerful. Look at this, is the 2 eggs coming out together. It's all about the number 2 and the twins in the womb, right? So these would be not identical twins, but fraternal twins. Okay, the heart chakra and the throat chakra. Very important to be activated right here, and connecting the heart to the throat, speaking your heart truth, not your head truth. And then these 2 come up right after, the bunny and the dolphin. The bunny's in fear, and the dolphin is completely not, right? They anchor us in this world. They actually are our protectors. And you see all the compassion that exudes from the dolphin as the bunny's afraid they're kind of like being protected by the dolphin here. Like the dolphin's back is protecting them, or, backing them up in a way, but actually in the front, not in the back. So, see the bunny's hiding behind the dolphin because the dolphin knows their way until the bunny is ready to learn their lessons and go on their way. But there's a lot of fear there with the bunny rabbit. We have the beaver here too. So the third wheel has been coming up a lot because the third energy is what activates the union, right? Because when it's one-to-one and you don't agree, you always need a third party to come in to break up the monotony of not agreeing, right? Because then there's always going to be two against one. So it's like just a way of resolving, a mediator to resolve the situation. The third energy of God is literally always there to break the tie, right? To break up the twin energy of always seeing the opposites and having a third energy to intervene, to merge the polarities, right? The third energy is actually the victim in the middle, because we have the perpetrator and the savior on either end, with the victim in the middle ready to shift, to pull those polarities in. And that is the alchemical process of how you change lead to gold. It's 11:11 on the clock right now, and 106:31 here. So the 1 of the Magician, the 6 of the Lovers, and the 31 of today's day, which is that 5 of Wands of expansion, which can be conflict or the pursuit of happiness or games. It just depends on your perspective. And these three have very different perspectives, right? This one's afraid of everything. This one's not afraid of anything because they're in love all the time. And here's the hard worker who never gives up. Very different energies there. But you need all of those different perspectives in order to complete the oneness of the collective consciousness. And then the bottom of the deck here is the buffalo, who's also very solid and grounded, right? And there's the wolf as well, being very neutral. They're both very calm, right? It's like the wolf has been hypnotized because, usually it's the leader of the pack. And they're not the leader of the pack anymore because everyone's supposed to be sovereign. And he's like, well, what do I do now? And then there's the buffalo. He's like, well, just hang out with me. Do what I do. That's pretty funny. See, the fish never stops moving. So the wolf, the leader of the wolf pack, the leader of the pack, doesn't have a pack to lead anymore because they're learning how to do it themselves. So it's like, well, what do I do now? What's my worth now? And the buffalo may be teaching them a new lesson. That's the underlying energy coming into this, of connecting the two eggs, perhaps the twins in the womb, or the eggs of the feminine heart and the masculine truth, right? He needs to speak. I always said that the two keys are the masculine's mouth portal and the feminine's womb portal. Those are the two keys of the masculine and feminine. He needs to speak his truth in order for her womb to open to him. You follow that. And there's also then the reference to the disappearing twins. So very cool that came up. So I'm going to read you the black and the golden egg because they're spiritual cards. They're very important there. So the golden egg is the fourth, or the heart chakra. And that's the message at the center of the heart, the unstruck sound. So again, the music coming up here. Within the golden egg lives the precious sound. The deep within, it's like Metatron and Michael too, right? The sound of the thunder versus the lightning of the Michael. Regarding the masculine and the feminine, like the Metatron comes up as more as the feminine sound and Michael as the lightning strike. Within the golden egg lives a precious sound. Deep within the sound resides a message. The sound cannot be heard, nor the message discerned, until we retreat from the noise of modern-day life. The magical essence of the golden egg needs warmth and quiet, and time to unfold, which came up in the code line today as well, the quiet. No rushing, pushing, or grasping. Find a place of deep and restful ease, perhaps through yoga, nidra, or meditation. If you do not yet have a meditation practice, take some time for introspection or contemplation. When the mind begins to settle and the breath is calm, ask the question that weighs heaviest on your heart, staying open to any response you hear. Engaging with the energy of the golden egg is an advanced practice. It requires becoming intimate with our very essence and comfortable with vulnerability, which was a big thing that came up today as well. When a feeling of tenderness or gratitude arises from deep within you, know that you are well on your way. Your chest may swell like you are seeing an old friend that's been away for a long, long time. Listen to the message they've been waiting to tell you. Okay, so that's the feminine golden egg. And it comes up with the mother love, so it comes up like in an aqua nest, like the tag I drew at one point of the egg in the nest with the aqua energy of the plasma ether in the aqua color. So this is the golden egg. It's the fourth chakra, the heart chakra, the subtle essence that is nestled deep within the heart chakra, the fourth, called the anahata, is the home of the self or soul. By bringing the mind into this center, we discover a portal to the most intimate and luminous space. It is said our inner guide sits there in deep meditation, which I always connect with my inner child there. It sits there waiting for us. The anahata translates as the unstruck sound. Right? The sound of your heart, the sound of your inner child, the sound of the outer realms, right? Because that's the feminine nothingness is the sound, and the masculine everythingness is the light. The black egg then is the truth, the speaking from the authentic voice, the truth. The black egg contains one of the life's essential treasures, the truth. Inside of it resides no confusion, excuses, small talk, noise, or lies, not even white ones. This living and breathing vessel harbors only that which rings true. When this essence is in balance, we speak slowly and clearly. We are drawn to activities like writing, reading, teaching, singing, or perhaps public speaking. Sounds draw us in, books draw us in, the concept of truth itself draws us in. We start asking questions like, what do I know to be true about myself? And what is true about the world? When the energy of the black egg is not yet accessed, we speak from an unsure place. We say things that others want to hear, gossip or repeat stories to justify our subpar behavior. We might even try to convince ourselves that we have no inner truth at all. The energy of the black egg hovers and waits for us to reconnect. It is available at every moment in every situation and is the epicenter of truth, the birthplace of our voice. And remember, love and truth, right? They don't work without each other. The black egg in the fifth chakra, the subtle essence of this card resides at the base of the throat. At the Vishuddha chakra, the ancient sages saw this center as the hub that governs our speech and expression. It translates as especially pure. The balance of this center is important for all of us, but is especially essential for writers, editors, musicians, and teachers. Okay? All right, so let's see. I want to pull a card from the Lenormand Reverie. So let's see what comes up there. For the twins, takeaway here. The sun is breaking through, guys, with the lovers. 6 of the lovers and the King of Wands, the shaman. By cutting stuff out of their life. Number 10, a turn for the better in cutting out what no longer serves them. The sun then comes out. And then look what else comes out. The lovers here with the 24 and the Queen of Wands, which is the Page of Hearts. That could be the Knight of Hearts as well, which is also Cups. Okay, the loving one. By cutting out, by allowing the sun to come out, to break through the clouds, and by allowing yourself to cut out what no longer serves you, then comes the love of the 2 swans, of the pure, innocent love. And there's the tree of life and the compass, right? Having direction of the north and south node. Connecting to your family tree, right? To find your specific way. The things you need to follow as the north node and the things that you need to let go as the Gemini north node and the Sagittarius south node. We're releasing Sagittarius right now. So anything that doesn't serve, especially addictions connected to Sagittarius. And then we have the underlying energy of anchoring, you know, becoming solid and stable within yourself, the 35 of the wounded warrior in surrender. And beneath that, that time heals all wounds is what I'm getting now with the 37 and unconditional love, right? Because there is no such thing as time, it's linear. It's just all different dimensions here of time, all pushed together, right? So there's lots of time, but it's all actually happening at the same time. And anchoring into the grid here, anchoring all your timelines, bringing all of the pieces of yourself back into one coherent body, the mosaic of the pieces of your body that have been lost to other eras and times, which actually Damien brought that stuff up as well. So very cool. So also it brings up, you know, if you've had any surgeries where you were cut open, there are cells of your body that have been taken away because you were cut open, and bringing those cells back to yourself. Whether in this life or another lifetime where you were wounded, bringing all of those parts back to yourself. And from the journey of love, the heart fire, again going back into the heart. But of the red, right, because that's the root, is the home, is actually the heart, the safety and security of the heart with the Christ light within, the unity consciousness, the one of the magician embodiment, right, bringing the root into the heart and speaking your truth. And again, treating your body as your temple, the 59 of the 5 of Swords, which is, you know, protecting your union, protecting your temple, your body, your connection to your twin, because you're a closed circuit between the two of you. Protecting your temple not only for you, but both of you. And then here we have Shakti as well, which is the feminine warrior, the 19 of the sun. We have the, you know, the warrior at war with the sun and the magician. They're both masculine numbers and energies, but the Shakti is the feminine warrior, right? Bringing the femininity into the ability to be able to defend themselves, right? The femininity to defend her womb and her body. And 59 is also the 11th hour before the hour, right? It's like Cinderella and the stroke of midnight and coming into union here. And look at all the red surrounding the union of the temple. And then we have a couple more cards that want to be seen, but I want to show you the bottom first. Just for a moment, joy, which is the inner child, the 46 of the children loving each other, the inner children and the outer children, jumping for joy and receiving light. Look at that. The ancient ones, the 52 of the Queen of Swords, receiving the light, and the child as well, both at the same time, the outer adult and the inner child. The Queen of Swords, right, the woman of truth, and she's the war widow with the light, allowing her inner child to come out and play. The ancient ones are the young and innocent ones, just for a moment, joy, which is so cool. And look at all that light coming in right now with the summer solstice. These 3 days of the 20th, 21st, and 22nd, there's a triangulation, according to Sam the Illusionist, between the sun and the moon and the earth. Okay, and also there's supposed to be a grand meeting today of the dark energies. So we need to raise the light as much as possible today and keep it really positive. We also have simplicity coming out here from this deck, keeping it black and white. This is the 4 of the Emperor card, right? The Emperor always likes to keep things simple. He doesn't want to know all the details, just a need-to-know basis. Keep it very simple. And then these cards came out as well. The 41 of the Ace of Cups, knowing without knowing. Again, there's very 2D energies here, keeping it flat and simple. But I also get the energy of a native woman carrying stuff on her head and her shoulders, right? The weight of the world on her shoulders. And loving self first, self-love, spiritual love, new love. And again, the Mary Magdalene buttercup yellow here of being in your knowing without knowing. This looks like an M as well, right? So the Mary Magdalene, knowing without knowing, loving herself first, being in the void of the womb and the 0 point, the 40 of the Page of Cups, the innocence of love, of loving self first. We have the 40 and 41, and being at 0 point in coming together And there, that's the 66 is the Queen of Pentacles. Okay? And this is the love between the page, the void of the Page of Cups, the innocent one, and the Queen of Pentacles, who's the grounded mother, like mother and son. The coming together of mother and son, which is Gaia and the sun, the central sun. And then we have, this is also the triangulation of the sun and the moon. It's like the sun, the moon, and the earth. However you want to put this. The earth can be like the heart chakra, right? Because that's your home. And this is very much of the moon energy. And this has the yellow of the Mary Magdalene sun energy, which was coming up as the Shakti, feminine, masculine. Okay? It's bringing like the feminine, masculine into play, you know, as opposed to a polarized feminine and a polarized masculine. It's being, you know, both. That merging of the polarities of masculine and feminine. The moon, the sun, the moon, and the earth of the heart. Heart being your home. So the first card that came out was the one, number one, the oneness, the heart fire. Let's see what that one says for you. Passion is igniting within you. It's not a time when things will remain still, even if the change is only sensed as a subtle stirring. Underneath the surface of things, even if slow at first, passion will unfold from within your heart, soon to be burning bright like a sun, unrestrained. You're learning how to ride the waves of passion. Through eruptions of heat and descent into coolness, bearing the absence of fire, only to realize it is returning to you again. Ride its waves, knowing that passionate bliss will always return to a heart that is on fire with love for life. The coolness allows us to experience the heat. Once you realize that the fire emerging from within you will ebb and flow, you will trust in its presence. You will realize that whether your passionate fire is obvious, drawing you into life, or dwelling quietly within, gaining power from the deepest sources of your being, soon to rise once more, it is a constant in your heart. Accept the fire of your heart, and know that this is how you're meant to be, on fire with love for all that is. This oracle brings a message for you. Trust the passion and fire of your heart to guide your decisions now. What would make you feel most alive? Choose that. If you're feeling a lack of genuine passion in your life, take comfort that it is awakening in your own heart now, bringing something that has been long in rest back to life. The poem reads, life unfolds in wondrous ways, and time together fills the days, with unexpected gifts beyond our wildest dreams, like open hearts as feelings start to face the longing when we part. Our souls know this is more than what it seems. In gratitude I offer prayer, with thanks for this love so rare, asking guidance on this sweet sojourn. The answers come in tears that flow, emotions raw and smiles that show. Becoming one is worth the wait until I can return. Okay, and I want to read the temple to you as well. That's the 59. And guarding your temple. Okay, the temple. The lover and the beloved meet in sacred space. They take respite from the cares of the world, entering into sanctuary where only they exist. You are in need of this. Meditation, making love, connection and dance, intimacy and surrender into the moment. Your body and soul need to enter into the temple and participate in sacred ceremony. Choose to gift this to yourself. Set aside time. Turn off the computer and mobile phone. Turn on music and set the lighting. Be in the present moment. Do you remember your body? Ah, yes, here it is. Can you be in its temple with presence and delight? This oracle brings guidance to take time out to smell the flowers, savor the pleasures of life, and renew your connection to the inner lover. Your sensuality wants to come out and play. You are encouraged to explore scent, taste, touch, and feeling. You're encouraged to play with color. What moves you? What brings you into connection with yourself in this moment again? It is the wholeness of divine self-connection in sacred space that will best nourish you now. And the poem reads, love should be given as it is received. On this day I grant you the love of 1,000 mountain streams, and the pleasure of 100 bleats from a newborn baby fawn, for I, too, cry for love. And like the fawn, I cry with the hunger of being alive. And on this day I cry for the happiness of giving, and the warmth of receiving, and the softness of your gentle touch. It is moments like these when I smile for the someone who will always care. Okay, so drink your water, get your rest, get your joy in your nature at 11:29. Rise and be love, guys. I will see you soon. Have an amazing day.